After centuries of persecution, the Jewish diaspora began to actively push for the establishment of a Jewish state in the late 1800s. Over the next half-century, hundreds of thousands of Jews immigrated to the area once known as Palestine, seeing their fervent desire to return home. In 1939, the British made the compassionate decision to offer up British Guiana as the new Jewish homeland. This is the story of how Guyana almost became Zion in the jungle. In the decade before World War II, Germany systematically began using economic, political, and physical violence to force their nation's 900,000 Jews to flee the country. By 1938, at least half of this number had fled to either England or the British Mandates of Palestine. Unfortunately, this mass migration was not well received by the native population. Many of the Palestinians were the descendants of Muslims and Christians who had lived on the land for centuries. The waves of immigrants triggered a series of violent revolts against the British occupation of their land throughout the 1920s and 30s. And in 1920, the British had occupied the region, and they immediately began a campaign of divide and conquer, as they so often do. Publicly, they claimed to be guiding the leadership of the territory through the steps of becoming a modern multi-ethnic state, when in fact the British violently stamped out Palestinian resistance while arming and training the Jewish people there. This method was heavily utilized in response to the Second Arab Revolts in 1936 to 1939. That bloody conflict resulted in the deaths of over 5,000 Palestinian Arabs. In total, 10% of the adult Arab male population was killed, wounded, imprisoned, or exiled. This violent period planted the seeds of division that still lasts to this day. So where does Guyana fit in this story? By 1938, England began exploring other locations to send European Jews other than Israel because fighting a multi-year war is expensive, and the British love money more than they love keeping their promises. In November of 1938, Winston Churchill suggested that Britain offer 250,000 German Jews the opportunity to settle 42,000 square miles of Guyana's hinterland instead of Israel. Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain flat out rejected the idea, pointing out the obvious facts that the hinterland is full of mountains, thick rainforests, swamps, tropical diseases, and a whole host of other things that can kill you, obviously. A few months later, Chamberlain had warmed up to the idea and actually sent an exploratory committee to the hinterland in February of 1939. According to the committee, the region was not ideal, but the soil quality, abundance of important minerals, and the climate might make it worth the effort. The committee proposed a 2-year trial period to send 3,000 to 5,000 strong, able-bodied young people with professional training to test the possibility of such a settlement. In May of that year, Chamberlain announced to the British Parliament that Jewish settlement in British Guiana would bring the establishment of a new community, which would enjoy a large measure of autonomy and representation in the colonial government of British Guiana. Despite the big talks regarding the plan, there ultimately was no real follow-up. By July, the committee determined that the effort would be far too expensive to pursue it at this point in time. However, the plan to create Zion in the jungle was abandoned completely by September 1939, as World War II had already begun. Thanks for watching till the end. If you want to learn more about this topic, check the links in the description. And if you like our videos and you want to help us in our mission to spread knowledge, you can become a supporter through our Patreon. Or you can even send us some cash through PayPal. The links for both of those are in the description below. And since we're on the subject of this, I noticed that most of you aren't subscribed to this channel. So if you aren't, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button and let us know in the comments that you did. Please do, because it's a simple and free way to support us and to let YouTube know that you actually like our videos. Because remember, it's not just the likes that matter, it's also the comments, it's also the shares. So please just let people know about what we're doing here. And finally, if you're learning how the British offered your country up as a second Jewish homeland, You're doing it for the culture.